Hey, awesome fuckers. It's nice to be back recording in a quiet place where I have adequate time to sort my thoughts and not just like this constant machine gun pelting rapid fire list of triggers pulling me out of my body that I have to like fight to stay in it against. That was fucking amazing. I am still so goddamn happy and so fucking proud of us that we did that and that we went. That was incredible. Like, man, that was an experience. I never really understood that before. We have actually gone to see MCR before, when the body was like 17, I think. But man, we were so heavily traumatized at that point, and it was a serious time period of like just after a really significant year of events, which was just after we had like several events a year for a few years, and then that was like building to the catastrophic point, and we were so not in our bodies, and I don't know if we ever really were from birth. I don't think so from what I'm experiencing now. So this was very different. I've got my yellow wristband. I was so fucking happy with that goddamn pot of gold wristband. And ticket printed on the wall. I'm just gazing in adoration. That will happen periodically. I'm not sorry. It's beautiful. I wore it for I only took it off yesterday to shower because I was too tired to fucking shower or do anything, and I didn't want to remove it from me. But it's paper, so alas. Oh, dude. I'm still so tired that it's difficult to be it's difficult to be very present and with it, and when I do achieve that, I'm just so fucking drained that it's difficult to focus. Like we have seen them before, was my point, and it was nothing like this. It was so detached. I remember being at their concert before, and everything felt very mechanical. I remember being aware that the people we were with were dancing and singing lyrics, and there was a very detached sort of automatic knowledge that that was expected, that that was the response that would look normal. And I remember doing it, and there was another layer where there was yeah, I really do like these lyrics, but that felt stupid at the same time. So it was I couldn't really connect to how important it was for me. And when I saw people screaming lyrics at each other's faces or streaming tears, there was a part of me that was confused, really confused. And I felt like I had to reject that in other people in a way, by being I just don't understand. It seemed, when I say it seemed stupid, but I say it with an edge of panic. So I guess what I mean is it seemed like showing too much emotion, holding too much emotion. It seemed like people being so connected to the lyrics, the song, the band, and expressing that and feeling that way seemed so vulnerable and intense to me that it didn't seem safe, and it wasn't a level that I could connect to, so I didn't understand it. Which led to this fantastic, sort of dichotomy of me feeling like I'm faking it and an imposter for making it look like I care as much as the people around me, and feeling like I'm a fake ass imposter who's like pretending not to care when it just means as much as me as it does to them. There was like both things sort of held, and I was kind of vaguely aware of both, but not really like fully aware of either. It was a mess, and that's just on the level of like, I felt like an outside observer, really, to my own experience and to our own body and to our thoughts, but not in the nice, healthy way that I do these days. Because these days I can be an outside observer to our experience internally, like I can observe our thoughts and have space between me and them, but I'm still feeling everything that's happening as if it's happening to me, more of the time than not. More of the time than not. Maybe about 50-50, but that's still surprisingly high. That's amazing. But then it was like my whole... Like, I quite literally remember things in third person, which I've read is not that common, but I don't know. But I literally, I see my body probably with a very distorted and negative self-image when I think of the memories, and I have to remind myself that it would not have been recorded that way. And then I get like some flashing fragments of point of view memories, but it's very tunnel vision. Like it's a long dark corridor between, like I'm looking through a telescope all the time. So we were fucking gone when we saw them last time. We were fucking out of it, man. We were so barely in this dimension, and definitely not really in this body, and I don't think we ever had been. And we went with some friends and one person who I guess a couple of people, but mostly one person who like has been really quite toxic to us, and oh god, maybe two people actually. Maybe I just completely blanked my memory of someone else being there. We were in like survival mode, still hanging out with people who were very abusive and didn't realize, and then really disconnected from everyone around us, from ourselves. I remember we had like our childhood best friend there who was like really did make that's the main person I have memories of. I remember us singing lyrics that were relevant to both of us back and forth, and I definitely had moments of being like sort of felt contented a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, you know, there's like in-joke references to these lyrics, so there was a bit of connection, but like just fleeting really, and only with her. And then I kind of remember wandering around a lot, like in the crowd. I don't remember trying to even see the stage very much because we were quite short, so like I would have struggled. We were kind of in the middle of the crowd. I remember kind of waddling through a bit and getting closer to the stage, I think. Everything very dream sequence, and like I wasn't really there. Like it was very hollow, which was all of our experiences really. And this time, like, I remember it was like there were moments, like there was the moment of contented connection with our friend, and then there was like moments where Gerard said something or did something and I felt kind of heartwarmed, but it was a bit like I was in a frozen, like dark frozen void, and there were like the occasional candle of warmth and light that I could kind of see and feel a bit and be like, yeah, there is some form of I feel some form of connection to something. Being here with this band, they mean something to us. I could feel the vague, like, light warmth in our chest, but it'd be doused very quickly because it's just how everything was. Jesus fucking Christ. It's a lot more grim than, like... It gets kind of difficult to remember the past. You know, not just like the dissociative amnesia kind of difficult, not just logistically, but because the more we come out of it and the more we get to experience things like embodied emotions and physical sensations and like positive emotions and thoughts that aren't just generated by anxiety, and like the more we get to experience these things in levels that we haven't yet, the more by comparison I can see how fucking grim and haunting a lot of our past is. And it starts to get kind of difficult to look back at it. It's a part of us. All of it is. The entire progression of how we've lived and how we've been alive. And every way it's evolved. I don't want to completely distance myself from how things were. I do want to acknowledge that it makes my chest feel really heavy and kind of torn. Like, I don't know, like feeling scar tissue of a place where something vast was torn away. I kind of just feel that whenever I'm thinking about almost any time in our past at this point. Back then as well as the thing, I would have said that was an awesome time going to the gig then, just the fact that I did it, but everything was much more like, everything felt more shallow and less connected, so it felt awesome in that cerebrally I knew we had done it and I knew it meant a lot to us, but I didn't really feel a lot of it. And that was the only level we really operated on a lot of the times. That was like, yeah, for our experience, that was awesome, but it just doesn't compare with when you can feel things properly and connect, and being able to interact and connect with each other. It's like that massive void chasm of loneliness and feeling like I felt so small and so disenfranchised and alone, with so much like chasms of space between me and everyone around me, and like a total outsider to their worlds. It felt like walking amongst the living while you're a ghost. It really did. And still, until we had this comparison, that was a good time. That was us being like, yeah, this is a really cool thing to experience, because the level of the way we could experience things was only in this way, and like it didn't really, you kind of constantly felt like starved of emotions, or I guess even just chemicals, like the brain happy chemical thing would not. So there was kind of this desolate, scraped out feeling all the time. I could still like be aware of and think of something and be like, that is cool, and I know it is. I know it is because it makes me think things like, I went here and this band means a lot to us. And some way in the distance inside me I'd feel like this tiny little candle flame in my chest, but only for a second. So I knew it meant a lot and it was cool. experientially, it's like there really weren't many parts of me or much of me or very often that I could actually feel that. Right, I'd love to be like, you know, give some happy, experience, some relay of a moment or something that really stood out, or some thing that made us know that we were existent and stuff there. But just in that period of our lives, we really just, so much was just survival and just hollow mimicry of what it meant to be alive. So I'm glad we went to see them. It was an awesome thing to have done. I've frequently been happy we did it. They were awesome. It was very claustrophobic from what I remember, because it was in the NEC, so it was a bit trapped feeling, but really the thing is, it just doesn't compare. It just doesn't fucking compare to what it was like this time, going with the level of things we can experience now and the amount of communication we've got internally. Well, yeah, building internally a little. Although arguably not between all parts of all of us, but God, maybe it gets even better. This time was so different, so vastly more weighted on so many different levels.